Okay, so 4.5 is on page 205, and we are going to do equations of perpendicular lines and parallel lines. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is review. Okay, so we need to talk about equations of lines, okay? So equations of lines can come in several forms. Okay, you have slope-intercept. You have point slope. You have standard. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And you're going to have numbers for the slope, and you're going to have a number for the y-intercept. Point slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. And again, like its name is, you're going to have numbers where the point is, and you're going to have a number where slope is. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. And you'll have numbers where a, b, and c. Now the other two things that you got to remember is if there's an undefined slope, the line is going to be up and down, and I call this an excited line, and it's an x equals line. And see, an excited line, okay? Now the other kind is a 0. And I'm going to write that, 0 slope. We have undefined slope and 0 slope. So a 0 slope goes like this. And I call that a lazy line. And it is a y equals. And you can see the y here in the word lazy. Okay, so the other thing that we need to remember is slopes of parallel lines are equal and slopes of perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals. So if I have a slope of 3, the perpendicular slope would be negative 1/3. Opposite, it becomes negative, and reciprocal means I flip it. If I had a slope of negative 4, the perpendicular slope would be 1/4. If I had a slope of 5/6, the perpendicular slope would be 6/5. Okay, so that is what we need to know. So let's go to 206. And I'm going to do this problem A here. And it says a line parallel to y equals parallel to y equals 5x plus 1. And it passes through the point -1, 2. So I know if it's parallel to this line, it gives me my slope. So I'm going to use point slope form because I have a point and I have slope. Okay, so y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. So I'm going to fill in the slope, and I'm going to fill in my x. So it'll be x minus -1, so it becomes x plus 1. And I have y minus 2. And so to finish it, y minus 2 equals 5x plus 5. If I add 2 to both sides, I end up with y equals 5x plus 7. And there is my slope-intercept form of that equation. Okay, so now if you flip to 7, we will go down here and do, and do B. Okay, so it says the line perpendicular to y equals -2/5 x plus 12, and it passes through this point. So it gave me a point and it gave me slope, but now when it's perpendicular, I know I need to do opposite, so it becomes positive, and the reciprocal, so it becomes 5/2. And again, I'm going to say y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. And that x sub 1, y sub 1 stands for that point. So y minus -8 becomes y plus 8 equals a slope of 5/2. And then x minus -6 gives me x plus 6. So I get y plus 8 equals 5/2 x. Okay, 5/2 times 6 is 30/2, which simplifies to 15. I subtract 8 from both sides. I get y equals 5/2 x minus 7. And that is it for this video. So I will, make sure you finish that review sheet about equations of lines, and I will see you tomorrow.